Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this. It's gonna be quite difficult because I've never done it before. I have set up all the ingredients for my, I call them chocolate mick cookies. I know that sounds silly. Chocolate chip cookies. So they've got oatmeal, whole wheat flour. I use milk chocolate chips. I use a Mexican vanilla. I use Himalayan pink sea salt, and I use it's a mixed nut butter. You can get it. You could sell it. It's Kirkland brand. You get at what's the name of it? Costco. Okay. So what I start with is just a cube, right? Salted butter. Pretty easy. I do it by hand. You can use a mixer, but I like using it by hand. I used to watch my grandmother do it all the time by hand. So now I do it by hand. I use dark brown sugar. I think darker the better, right? And I use just a cup of it. Just a cup of packed brown sugar. I think I just broke this. That makes me sad. Anyway, leave that cup behind over here because you're gonna have to use it again. I use the Mexican vanilla, right? And what a lot of people, that I don't measure, I just do a 2 count. 1, 2 of a pour. And then grab myself a spoon and mix it. It's quite difficult if the butter isn't at room temperature. So if you are strong like me, strong like bull, then you can mix it pretty quickly by hand. So I mix it until kind of it's all mixed together, the butter, the vanilla, and the brown sugar. It's a pretty good consistency, as you can see. Yeah, I do it quite quickly. Then I use heavy whipping cream, and I do another 2 count. So 1, 2, that's it. And then I mix again. And just try to make it as consistent as possible with the 2 count. This is when it's gonna get much wetter because of the whipped cream. And once you see when I add the egg. So that's mixed. I take 1 egg. Uno huevos. I'm sure I just said that wrong. Pop it in there, mix it again. I always keep a rag behind or nearby because I get dirty. And then you just mix that together. I do this really quickly. I think I had a friend once. He watched me do it and he's like, wow, you really know what you're doing. But I've made it so many times that it's just become, normal. So I've done that. That's all mixed together. I preheat the oven. Because I am in Utah and because of the altitude, I do mine for 325. I think it's usually 350, right? But I do 325. Anyway, now I add pink Himalayan sea salt. And I don't measure this either. I grind it 16 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'm a mess. Because I'll tell you, the only thing that I measure is the brown sugar, the flour, the oatmeal, and the baking soda. So the baking soda, I use a 1/4, just a 1/4. And I measure it as best as I can. Put it in there. Now as you see, I add mix, add mix, add mix, add mix. It's just how I do things. And you can tell it's really wet. And it's because, sorry, I'm gonna eat this. Because of the whipping cream and the egg. Now, I add the peanut butter, and I just do two huge spoonfuls. So I don't know how big this is, but this has, oh gosh, almond, cashew, pumpkin seed, chia seed, and flax seed. So a whole bunch of goodness, right? So two huge ones, and then mix it in. And then, after that's all mixed together really well, I will add a cup of rolled oats. I use an organic blend. Blend? It's not a blend. I use an organic one. So that's where the cup is nearby, so I can use it. I do 1 cup, and it's a quick dose. And then, this is new. I use whole wheat flour. I used to do flour, but I do whole wheat, and I add another cup. Now, this is when it gets tricky, because I usually bake a cookie in the oven for like 15 minutes to see if I have enough flour or if I have enough oatmeal in the mix, right? Once I add the cup of the oatmeal, the cup of the flour, and mix it, I kind of can tell by the way like the dough is either too wet or it's too dry to determine whether or not I want to add more, right? And as you can see, it's kind of wet. So I'm going to add just a little more oatmeal and just a little more whole wheat flour. And then mix it again and see if it kind of, thickens up. And it gives that, it's not as wet. It's not as wet, right? And then the last thing I add is the milk chocolate chips. I use Ghirardelli. I also like the guitar, I think is how you say it. I add these last minute. So, bam, mix it, and then I'll put it in the oven for 15 minutes and see if the cookie turns out. If it goes flat, it means it's too wet, and then I'll add more dry. So, these are my baking pans. I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but they're like little baking sheets, right? So I'll scoop. Wow, it's like the dishwasher didn't even work. This is nice and crunchy. I use a scooper. Sometimes I do it by hand. It depends on what size of the cookie you want. Sometimes I like them small, but because this is dirty, I'm gonna do it by hand. So I'll use the same spoon, and I'll scoop about that much, put it in the pan, and then stick it in the oven, just right in the center, for 15 minutes and see what happens. Now, you guys aren't gonna see the finished product, because I don't know how to edit these frickin' videos. So I'm just gonna stick it in the oven, and maybe I'll take a picture. But that's basically how you do it. That's how you make my milk chocolate, chia seed, pumpkin seed, almond, cashew butter, oatmeal cookies with milk chocolate chips. And they're pretty good. The guy I'm seeing right now thinks they're flippin' amazing. So check it out. So that's how you make the cookies. If you don't want to use all the dough at once, oops, this is gonna do something. I just put a topper on it and leave it in the fridge, and then cook them as I want to, right? Because I tend to not want a lot of cookies around. I do have cookies for my cookie jar, so when my nieces and nephews come over, they have somewhere to go to get cookies. So That's my niece and nephew cookie jar. All right, this video is too long, but you learned how to make it. I hope it helped. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments and I'll help you out. Have a great day.